Hey, welcome back to Fake Deep Think, just a group of friends sitting down talking about news, culture, and yes, even politics. We got John,
You?
Doc,
Yo.
Ian in the figurative back,
Yo.
and myself, Eugene. You're trying to get a cadence like Doc. Ian, what was that?
Oh, I was like squeezing my throat, like ah.
Oh, that's what I know. I heard it. It was like, what are you trying to do there? Making people jealous, Doc, with your cadence when you say "yo," you little yodel.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah. Next time I'm gonna start yodeling.
No, don't do that. All right, so the topics we have for today are something a little more fun to talk about. One is going to be more reactionary. I just want to see everyone's reactions to this topic. I think it'll be funny, especially John's. And the other one's some recent news, which is just kind of like, I don't know what Elon's thinking. It's Elon news. So let's start with the Elon news, honestly, because I think this one's just funny. So if y'all haven't heard, Elon plans to rebrand Twitter as X, just plain old X. An idea that harkens back to the CEO's early days when he was ousted from PayPal. Scroll down here. Elon Musk announced plans on Saturday to ditch Twitter's bird logo for an X, a reference to the CEO's vision to create an all encompassing, quote, everything app that may incorporate shopping and banking services, among other features. The dominion x.com now redirects users to Twitter. Musk said a new interim X logo will go live Sunday. He did not respond to a request for comment. So real quick, Ian, just click on the play button. Let's see if the little animation he shared to for everybody. Oh, that was loud. What the heck? But yeah, there you go. His little. I know. Oh my gosh, for real. That was unnecessary. Twitter's potential new logo recalls Musk's earlier tech entrepreneur days when he was a 28-year-old in Silicon Valley with ambitions to start an online banking company in 1999. By that point, Musk launched and sold Zip2, a company that provided city travel guide software to newspapers, for about 341 million. Musk earned 22 million out of the deal. Using that cash, his next venture focused on the banking services. The idea was to create an online tool for mutual fund management, according to a 1999 MarketWatch article. What would this online service be called? We don't need to dive into his old entrepreneur avenues. Basically, we got the gist of it. He tried to rebrand Twitter to X. All we really want to talk about is our feelings about this. Do you think it's a good idea? Do you think it's a bad idea? Do you think the X is cool? Do we miss the bird logo or not? What are y'all's takes? Or do y'all
I'm
even
making
care?
I'm making an account right now, bro. I was waiting for this.
This is what you needed right here to get you
Yeah,
back on
I always
Twitter.
thought the bird was lame, but now
Side note,
it's
probably should say this
extreme.
off podcast. Your account's been hacked, by the way.
I know. I opened it one day and I was like, I am not a Vietnamese woman. That's weird.
That threw me off too. I forgot what I was doing, but I think I saw my friends like this Vietnamese girl, and I was like, "Who the fuck is this?" I click on it, it's like Doc, and
Yeah,
then
it's
now
got like my old like whatever I put in the bio and stuff like that. They just changed the picture and I think they added like now I'm posting like shower like spas or something like that. And that's all
sounds
my
about
like
right.
recent posts.
Yeah,
It's
that
like
shit
what
was
the fuck?
hilarious.
So that's how
Yeah.
that works. I didn't know that's how that works.
What do you mean?
I didn't know like when the hacking thing, like when I see those spam accounts and they have followers, I'm like, how the fuck? Who the fuck is following these spam accounts? But they're just stolen people's old accounts.
Yeah, it
Yeah,
might
yeah,
be.
yeah.
Yeah,
They just stole it. And
honestly.
then the cool thing is they didn't lock me out. I still got into it, but I was like, what the fuck? It's
So
wild.
I'm confused about this Threads thing. Is it? Not said Threads. X.
X.
Is it just an interface before Twitter?
I don't think it's an interface yet. Like you said right here, his ambitions is an all-encompassing app. So I think that's a goal. I just think the first step was just to rebrand Twitter with the, and I don't even think they changed the name. I just think they changed the logo, from my understanding. So the logo is no longer a bird. It's just a plain old X, which I don't understand how Twitter and the X logo kind of go hand in hand. The bird and
Or
Twitter kind of made sense.
So there's no new domain name or anything like that. Like I don't. I can just go to twitter.com still.
I did that earlier. You can still do twitter.com. They just added another domain. If you do x.com, it'll redirect you, like it said, to Twitter.
So what's the
Yeah, that makes sense because people are so like ingrained
so
in
is the purpose just to
going to
get
Twitter.
people away from the original, I guess, the original brainchild of Twitter and
I
kind of
I think so. I just think since he bought it, he wants to make it his
Mhm.
instead of like add on to someone else's thing, and this is his way of doing it. I mean, I get it. I just think it's a bad idea.
I completely agree. It's a bad idea. It's a waste of time, and it's actually not cool. The funny thing about that is when you try to be cool, it doesn't work out that way. So I feel like I don't know. I feel like genuine, organic ideas become cool because of the how it started. Like everybody's almost like reminiscing of the good old days of Twitter, or like you reminisce of the good old Facebook, where things were actually more simpler, less complex, but you had less access to stuff, but just the interactions on the platforms were more, I don't know, just less this, whatever the fuck we have going on in the world right now, just less of that. So I don't see you creating an all in. What part of social media haven't we conquered yet? Is my real question because you're saying an all encompassing app. That's what Facebook is. So you're making another Facebook. So really what's going on, full story, really what's going on, he got mad about threads that Zuckerberg made threads. So he made X as a response to
I was gonna say
Facebook.
the same
So
thing. I was gonna say the same thing.
if you're gonna take Twitter away, I'm gonna try and take Facebook away. And they publicly don't like each other. So
Yeah, that
that's
makes sense.
really all I have.
I hadn't even considered that. I had heard about Threads, but I didn't even know if it was live or not.
Yeah, it's live.
It's live. I haven't used it, but it's live. Like it
It's
exists.
it's being I don't know if it's accurately inaccurately being labeled the liberal Twitter.
Because it's
Really?
only liberals on it, or it's just
Well,
the most
the
liberal?
shtick is because Elon's come out with a lot of
I see what you're
as
saying. Yeah,
people think or
yeah.
claim to be very right wing takes, very conservative takes, even though he's not a Republican or even right wing. And so because of that, people have called like just people think negatively of Elon and a lot of his takes he's had recently. So people have associated Twitter's become dominated and infested with a bunch of Republicans or red whatever blah blah blah. And so now people are saying, oh, if you want some kind of I guess peace from the new Elon's Twitter, come to
You want an
Threads.
echo chamber and go to
Yeah, if you want an echo
Threads?
chamber, basically, kind of thing. Yeah,
Interesting, dude. He looks older here than he does now. At
yeah, that's
least in
what
my
money
Most
does
opinion.
to you.
fascinating thing.
It's a lot of money right there.
I don't want to specify too about that. But the most fascinating thing about all of these people, liberal, conservative, all of them, they're literally leaving because other people have opinions. Like you
It's
don't
funny.
have to interact with other people's opinions. You just are so pissed off that they exist on this app that you just sort of don't follow those individuals. Or if you see people that retweet the stuff you don't like, you can mute their tweets.
I think it's just people not knowing how to deal with just like fucking word vomit. Like
The
just
world, other people are losing
yeah.
their most basic skills.
Yeah, I think it just comes down to I'm gonna elaborate more on what Doc said. I think it comes down to people don't know how to deal with uh just not contra opposing views. Like I don't think people are as I keep saying this, but I really do think it is. I think it's a blessing. Like people aren't blessed to have be friends with people who think differently than them and have like sometimes like the conversation we have. Like I think our friend group we're blessed. Like we all think differently. Some things line up, but at the end of the day, we do view the world very differently. But we're able to come together, sit down, talk civilly. Sometimes things get heated, but at the end of the day, like it got heated. So what? We're not gonna. It's not gonna make or break the friendship. It's just it's part of the relationship. Like we have disagreements or we get heated. It is what it is. I don't think people can manage those emotions well, and it speaks our I think America specifically as a whole how we don't know how to regulate our emotions nor do we know how to communicate with each other. And I think that speaks on a wider problem.
I think it's because it's not practiced by a lot of people. I definitely do think that there's a little bit of more of a movement for practice like that to come out, which is why I think podcasts have become like so popular.
With that.
I
Um,
agree and disagree with that, but finish your thought.
but I also think that a lot more people right now are practiced in like arguing on the internet, and there's 80% of human communication that's completely taken away from that. Because I could read something and read it in my head in an angry tone, and you could just be like, "Yeah, bro," and I'd be like, yeah, bro," and it's just wholly different interpretations. Like,
the reason why I agree and disagree is I do think podcasts do kind of give a little light to the kind of like different perspectives and open the dialogue for conversation. The problem is a lot of these podcasts become, as Jordan Peterson coined, I don't know if he did coin it or not, but I'm gonna give credit to him. People who become ideologically possessed. I'm gonna use Just Pearly Things as an example. That one, I used to love her podcast. I thought I really enjoyed it. Like she was one of the tame ones at first when it first started. Like when it first started, the beginning of it, I enjoyed it a lot more than these other podcasts because it was actually like different people with different views, actual men and women who came down and had a chill back and forth conversation. Then it got to a point where she's like, she probably disagreed with this, but I generally think she's trying to get reactions out of people. She's being purposefully controversial, purposefully inflammatory,
Like, she
purposefully
has
like
shock takes.
shock
She's
exactly
a
shock
she's a
takes.
shock jock. Hmm.
I just like
But then she
what
has no substance behind her shocking. Like she
ah
just misquotes people. She dodges. Like I ain't gonna lie.
Is
Just
that the
Pearly
redhead
Things, from the
girl?
little I know, is
the
probably
redhead
one of
girl,
the
yeah.
worst internet personalities I have ever seen. I actually dislike her more than Fresh and Fit. Like
It's sad to say, but yeah, she's getting to that point.
just be
It's really
talking.
it's really sad.
She just be talking. And even the
Oh,
things she talks about, she doesn't even stand on. Talking about you can't be a 30-year-old woman trying to, she's in her
it's
30s,
not even stand on it. She
not
can't even
physically fit.
properly explain her reasoning. It's just
Talking
my
about
like
stand on physically. Like she doesn't even represent the things she speaks about.
Hmm.
The things she says women need to be able to, she can't cook. She can't cook. One of her biggest things is, oh, what a man wants you, you come home, you can't cook. The bitch can't cook. So why are you speaking on this? Like it's crazy. People don't have social skills anymore. People like echo chambers, and I think it's weird. I think it's being coddled. I think there's an anti-culture to what Doc is saying, but the prevailing culture would be the echo chamber. But it takes times for things to shift. Um, whatever we attract, whatever we're attracted to watching is what we'll kind of allow into our lives. So if we're cool with echo chambers, we'll be cool with it. If you're not, then you're just not going to be. But I don't know. I just dude, I don't know. The
I
internet
think
is not
it's
even the internet no more. This shit is
it,
like a breeding ground of like pure toxicity, fake people accounts. Sometimes I'll go under some like videos just to read the comments. And like it reminds me that there are people who can really look at the same thing and come to a crazier different conclusion than you,
Yeah, I
which is
agree.
fine. But it's
I
like some of
agree.
those conclusions are like, huh?
Yeah.
What? Like I don't know. It's
It's
I
funny because
think
I like
turn off.
watching uh I'll be honest, like my like wholesomeness comes out sometimes and I like watching like little animal videos and stuff like that.
I love those.
And then I'll fucking look at the comments and they'll be like, "You bitch, why would you fucking not give the carrot to the rabbit?" And I'm like, "What the fuck? She's just playing with the rabbit." And you're like, "That's cruel what you're doing." And I'm like, "What?"
Exactly. The nigga in the comments is an accountant at H&R Block or a tax professional, and he lives his whole day normally, but secretly deep inside, he's a nigga in the comments talking about, bitch, why don't you feed that rabbit the carrot? Like, for a lot of people hiding parts of their personalities because subconsciously they know it's not acceptable in person, but then via the internet, they allow themselves to freely be. It's almost like people who weren't bullies before who are getting bullied, you gave them the power to be the bullies, and now they just don't know how to bully properly. If that makes any sense. Like they don't know how to
it
bully
weirdly
properly.
that's interesting.
When we were kids, I've been bullied. Everybody's been bullied.
I've been
And
bullied.
like, son, my tongue is sharp because of being bullied. Like, you can't
We
talk to me
bullied
crazy
each
without
other.
exactly. But it's small, like there's still an over there's still an overlapping like love, but there's still like, amen, like jab,
Maybe
jab,
it's because that
jab.
love's been taken out of it.
I think so. And now it's really hatred and people who all hold grudges at the world
I
taking it
think
out
it's
on
not
individuals.
hatred. Maybe there's hatred in it. I think it's more a level of greed and jealousy. And I guess the
What's the
reason why I
word?
say greed and jealousy is because the
What
only
is it? It's not
comments where you see,
revenge.
I mean, you
It's
could
like,
probably attribute a level of revenge to
but
it.
there's a better word for it. It's like retribution. Like people believe that they're like people believe based off what they've been through, they are the moral. the moral compass for what's right or wrong. And because they believe they're the moral compass for what's right and wrong, they actually don't think before speaking. Because I
There's
know
no
how
way
I
I'm
feel as a
wrong.
person.
Yeah, I kind of
Absolutely.
I agree with that because when I think about it, I always see more disgust being the reason why like they're driven so hard because they're just like they don't live life the way you do or the way you've come to, and so you're kind of just like disgusted by it, so you have this feeling to like attack it to try to convert it or to try to like fix it or something like that. And so I think that's a core issue. It's like oftentimes both parties think they're right, and so they're just fighting. And at that point, when both parties think they're right and they hit the bias, it's just conflict. That's just what's going
Fucking
to come out
boring
of it.
teacher. Like,
Yeah.
who gave you a license to teach me anything?
I mean, I don't think
Or
there's anything
what?
wrong with the conflict. I think it's the way we handle the conflict is the problem.
Yeah,
Well, I mean, it
100%.
often escalates, and I also think that there has to be maturity though when people realize that they're at a bias. Because if you're at a bias, you stop and you go, okay, is it worth it fighting? Can I change this person's mind? And like, there's a lot of like thoughts that you can process in your mind, but when you never notice that bias, you're just like attack, 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 and then eventually like both people just keep escalating.
You remember those questions we used to? I forgot the conversation, but we always tell each other we ask before entering the argument. Do I care to change this person's mind? Do I value my opinion enough to say it?
Or do I
And
value
if this
their
person
opinion?
disagrees with me, will I be okay with it? If those three things don't line up, don't have the conversation. It's not. There's no point. Why would you have the conversation?
There's also something you said too that kind of resonated with me. It at the time it didn't, but over time it's resonated with me more and more. Which is some of these conversations I don't care to have because I've already had them with y'all. There's nothing more they can say that I have already dissected or dove into with y'all. It's like, why am I doing this again?
Repeat in life.
It's funny with those when that comes up to me, I like fast forward through everything I said and all
You
of my like opinions are
streamline
informative,
it.
and I just get straight to the end, and I'm like there, and then the person's just like, "Oh, you've clearly thought about this," and I'm like, "Yes." And they're like, "Okay." They often don't rebuttal, like,
Yeah,
So kind of, I guess, the steer is kind of back on topic a little bit. So do you think this will? Is this the Twitter killer? Do you think this will kill Twitter?
I mean,
He
like
was good.
kill it in general, like it's done, like Threads is now the new king and stuff like that, or do you mean like this will surpass Twitter?
I guess both, because you're right. Since now Threads is a literal competition for it now, like if this does not work out the way Elon wants it to, then maybe you might see an uptick in Threads, or this will kill whatever Elon's trying to do with the entirety of his everything app. You then Twitter will die, and whatever Elon wants to like from the ashes come about, then that would
Let's stay
be
in the
that.
same
What that is,
space.
I don't know.
And stay in the same space because the internet's in a different phase than it used to be. Before there wasn't enough space for you to be having a MySpace and a Facebook or MySpace and a whatever you want. So a lot of times people transferred from one app to another, even as recently as Snapchat and Instagram. A lot of people migrated from Snapchat to Instagram. I don't think there's much migration anymore because all the uh all the points of social media now have been looked into, invested into to the point where it's more business than social. Like before, a social media app was grassroots. It was normally something from like started small and then it grew in popularity. People joined, hey, you should do this, you should do this, do this. It was really organic. You can't force social media on anybody. Like it's not even like who wants to be forced to use a platform? Nobody. So if I even feel like you're forcing me to use a platform, I'm just not gonna go. So I just don't see everybody's picked what they want. There's nothing, there's no, unless we're sending each other farts or like what other, there's pictures. It can tell you my thoughts. I can show you videos. What other niche or what other part of interacting can social media take advantage of to monetize? I don't believe there's any more parts of conversation that social media can monetize. So Threads, whatever it is, it'll get people to follow it. There'll be Threads people, there'll be Twitter people,
So when
there'll
you say
be
that, do you mean
Instagram
like
people.
anything new, or just take on something that's already been done and just add it to it?
Anything new that pops up has to be organic, or we won't accept it.
Well, sure. Let's assume organic from it. But what I'm trying to get to is, do you think we've exhausted any potential ideas that could revolutionize the social media landscape? Do you think we've exhausted all those ideas? Do you think anything new can come about?
I don't think anything new can come about, but I'm probably wrong. Like I just haven't thought about it. The question itself, I haven't thought about it. Like you can't. If I can answer that question, Chuck, we'd be rich right now. Like
Well, the reason
Yeah.
the reason why I asked, that's what I was gonna agree with you because you're right. I don't know what new thing you can do. Like we had
no,
MySpace, which was like a page where everything about you. Then we had Facebook, who kind of like simplified it and made it a little bit more streamlined. Then you had Twitter, which is just let's just take Facebook, just take the headlines. Boom, that's it. You can only post
thoughts,
like 140
100%.
character headline. Then you had Instagram, was like, okay, let's do pictures. Now you can only pictures, post these pictures of your daily life, and then next thing was like, okay, video, short little videos. It's got shorter and shorter since then, all the way down to TikTok, where it's 30 seconds or something like that. I what was it? Spotify now with music. I don't know if that's like a
So
music social media thing, but I kind of like I don't know what
I
else
agree.
you could do around that.
so my insight would be that it's not going to be something on the front end. It's going to be something on the back end. So if you look at TikTok, TikTok is just Vine, but the algorithm for TikTok is different. It's far more addictive, smarter. It reads you better, and it feeds you TikToks that you want to see faster. Vine didn't have any way to like just kind of like constantly stream videos into you. You had to manually scroll throughout the entire posting of what was happening. You could probably keyword some stuff like that. But TikTok literally will learn you. It'll shoot you what it wants you to see or what you want to see. And so that's why it's so popular right now, and that's why it overpassed all the other social media sites. It's because of the addictiveness capability of it. And so that's what I'm thinking. Like when something comes along, like MySpace was before Facebook, it's the same damn thing, but Facebook took off better because the marketing was better. And so it's not going to be something that's like forwardly different. It's just going to be something on the back end that got better. The marketing,
Also,
the algorithms, the AI behind it, like something behind it is going to be better.
that's what I'm saying. All of those things didn't have an inception. All those things didn't have like billion-dollar marketing, billion-dollar like tech or whatever behind it. It was all like organic. And also with Facebook, it started off exclusive to college students. So like I remember part of the allure of even the social media apps, even MySpace, you had to be 13 or 14 or
Yeah,
something
that's
like that.
true.
Part of it was the exclusivity of it. Once that no longer became a point or a problem of it, because like you technically like it's almost like it's marketing different things to different age groups. If you're a little kid, you want to see what this app is where the adults are on. Then you create the app when you're not supposed to, and you just have it. You even if you don't use it. I had my Twitter for 4 years before I used it. Just sitting there, created it. Then one day I just hopped on. And I don't even use my Twitter no more unless I'm looking for a video that I can't find the uncensored or the raw version of, the full version of. Just go to Twitter. Twitter don't ban nothing.
All right,
So it's
last
good
take, and
for.
let's move on. Or last question, let's move on, which is it's kind of on topic to the whole idea of like social media and I guess Twitter, but I guess a little off, which is, are we just too old for this? Like, are we getting too old? Like, do we actually still use social media? Because I only use really TikTok. I check it like every day, every other day, just to see what's going on. I kind of like made sure the people I'm following where it feeds me what I want to see, which is basically like news related stuff and like pop culture related stuff. I don't care about anything else besides that. Facebook, I don't get on Facebook at all. If I do, it's really to watch like videos, but I don't even use Facebook for videos. I use Instagram for videos. Only reason I still have my Facebook is so I can use the Messenger app to keep in contact with our Warhammer group, which I don't even know if I still need my Facebook app or page to
No,
even
you at this
use.
point you can just download the Messenger app
Yeah, so I'm
and just
probably
do
going to end
that.
up deleting my Facebook page because I literally don't use
Yeah.
Facebook at
It's,
all. It's only the
that's
Messenger I
how
talk
long
to.
it's been since I've used Facebook. I
And then,
didn't know there was a messenger app.
Yeah,
yeah, see?
they split up the products. I guess they figured a lot of people have had the same idea. They're like, I just use this to talk to my grandma because she's got
Yeah.
a Facebook page or something like that.
Literally, you just got the whole Warhammer squad in there, just trying to throw in their miniatures, trying to set up dates to come play, or Magic also. Like that's what we use it for. And
So what
Instagram, like
I
I said, it's for videos. Like I don't really use social media anymore.
so what I noticed is that it varies greatly from person to person, and I know that's a very like duh answer, but like older people are on Facebook. So if you want to talk to that uncle or whatever, you can go into Facebook. Instagram is more so for younger people, maybe 30s to under. Uh, and then TikTok, I know it's Zoomers, and then I honestly don't know what Twitter is. It's just whoever wants to join the the group think or just be in that spectrum. Uh, but like it definitely varies a lot between the people because imagine if like yeah you're a 30-year old person or you're in your late 30s but you own a business, you want people to come into your business, so you're going to do a lot of social media stuff like that. At that point they're different from me and you who are just like we don't really care, but like they're managing a business, they're using it as a tool for advertising because it's much cheaper to do that than it is to pay for an advertiser or a marketer. And so that's what I've noticed that like older people, politicians and stuff like that, like they use those a lot. People who are like socialites in big cities, they constantly are on that stuff because they're constantly cycling with the people they've met. I mean, I hang out with people all the time. Whenever we go like mixers, they're just passing out their fucking info like crazy, and so they still use it, and they're full on adults. So it's not like it really depends on the type of person. And then you also have to think about other countries. So, like in Latin America, Facebook is the internet practically. And so, if you have a Facebook page, your business has presence on the internet. And from there, it connects to WhatsApp, and WhatsApp in a lot of places is like the major like tool that people use to trade money and commerce and stuff like that. Let alone like calls. So it really, it really does vary depending on like who you are and where you are.
That's probably what Elon wants to
It's
do.
true because
That's probably
internationally,
what
you're right.
he wants it to be the everything app. He wants the commerce. He wants the communication ability of it all. He wants the
Mm-hmm.
video of it all. He wants the live stream of it all. He wants the podcast of it all. Like, I, I guess
I think what they
when
want is whatever WhatsApp's eating off of right now, because that's the biggest. WhatsApp is the biggest communication threat to any social media.
yeah, it's
If
worldwide
WhatsApp
pretty much,
had
right? That's like the
profile,
world app.
if WhatsApp had a profile page,
Yeah, they kind of do
you
in a
would be in
way.
trouble, huh?
They kind of do in a way. It's
Do
really
you?
simple. It's really simple. Like I don't really use WhatsApp that much, but whenever I do use WhatsApp, like you can actually have like a really like it's super simple, like a simple page. You got your obviously like your profile picture, and like there's like a very small description thing, and like that's basically it. But like there it,
It's
it, it
still,
it's still
it's
basically a
still a
profile.
profile. Yeah, you're right. You're right.
But you're right.
Wow,
If they decided to like expand on that, you're right. That could honestly
that would eat a
make
lot.
waves. Yeah, it kind of would.
Jesus Christ.
All right, let's
Come
get
over
away
here.
from social
Go ahead.
media stuff because in my opinion, I think we're too old for this, but that's my personal opinion, mainly because we don't use
Right.
social media like that. Let's get into the reactionary topic, which I want to see John's reaction to this because he has the best reactions, which is United States approves nation's first lab-grown meat chicken made from animal cells. Let's get
That's
into
a,
this.
what I tell you about chicken? What I tell y'all about chicken? I've been tooting this horn for so. There's no way that anywhere in the world you want. I got a sandwich right now. It's not turkey. It's chicken. Like I can have sliced chicken, chicken wings, chicken breast. I can go to Popeyes. I can go to KFC. I can go to Chick-fil-A. I can go to Jollibees. I can go to
Canes,
Cane's. There's
Zaxby's.
chicken everywhere. McDonald's got chicken. Taco Bell got chicken. What restaurant don't serve chicken? Captain Silver's serves chicken. Long John or whatever the fuck the seafood place's name is serves chicken. Indians eat chicken. They don't eat cow. They eat chicken. Muslims don't eat pork. They eat chicken. And we all know what niggas eat. So what how is there enough chicken to feed everybody? It just doesn't make sense.
So you're saying the synthetic ideas make sense? Why the
I'm
fact
saying
that
this synthetic idea been going on for a long time and
oh,
they
I,
finally admit it.
oh, okay, I got you, I got you.
And somebody's like,
Same with the
damn,
US and
we don't
all over
got
there,
enough
by the way, with
chickens.
aliens. Come on.
All right, let's read
Chicken,
this.
dude, is impossible.
For the first time, United States regulators on Wednesday approved the sale of chicken made from animal cells, allowing two California companies to offer, quote, lab grown meat to be nation's restaurant tables and eventually supermarket shelves. The agricultural department gave the green light to Upside Foods and Good Meat, firms that had been racing to be the first in the U.S. to sell meat that doesn't come from slaughtered animals. What's now being referred to as cell cultivated or cultured meat as it emerges from the laboratory and arrives on dinner plates. The move launches a new era of meat production aimed at eliminating harm to animals and drastically reducing the environment impact of grazing, growing feed for animals, and animal waste. Instead of all the land and all of the waters that used to feed all of these animals that are slaughtered, we can do it in a different way, said John Tetrick, co founder of chief executive of East Just, which
Yeah, how do you
operates
do with that?
Good Meat. The companies
Okay.
received approval for federal inspections required to sell meat and poultry in the United States. The action came months after the Food and Drug Administration deemed that products from both companies are safe to eat.
Damn, this reminds me of a book I
A,
read.
a manufacturing company called Join Biologics, which works with Good Meat, was also cleared to make the product. Cultivated meat is grown in steel tanks using cells that come from a living animal and fertilized egg or a special bank of stored cells. In upside cases, it comes out in large sheets that are then formed into shapes like chicken, cutlets, and sausages. Good Meat, which already sells cultivated in Singapore, the first country to allow it, turns masses of chicken cells into cutlets, nuggets, shredded meats, and sautés. But don't look for this novel meat in grocery stores anytime soon. Cultivated chicken is much more expensive than meat from whole birds and cannot yet be produced on the scale of traditional meat, said Ricardo San Martin, director of the Alt Meat Lab at University of California, Berkeley. The companies plan to serve the new food first in exclusive restaurants. Upside has partnered with a San Francisco restaurant called Bar Cren, while Good Meat dishes will be served at Washington, D.C., restaurant run by chef and owner Jose Andres. Company officials are quick to note the products are meat, not substitute like the Impossible Burger or offerings from Beyond Meat, which are made from plant proteins and other ingredients. Let me finish this last couple. Let's get into it. 150 companies are focusing on meat from cells, not only chicken, but pork, lamb, fish, and beef, which scientists say has the biggest impact on the environment. Upside, based in Berkeley, operates a 70,000 square foot building in nearby Emeryville. On a recent Tuesday, visitors entered a gleaming commercial kitchen where Jess Weaver was sauteing a cultivated chicken fillet in a white wine butter sauce with tomatoes, capers, and green onions. The finished chicken breast product was slightly paler than the grocery store version. Otherwise, it looked cooked, smelled, and tasted like any other pan. Quote, the most common response we get is, "Oh, it tastes like chicken," said Amy Chen, Upside's chef operating officer. All right. Uh I don't like this. I guess I'll start it off. I personally don't like this. I understand their motivation is because we want to help the environment and less so understand the idea of the whole like slaughter, like we don't want to hurt animals, we want to like torture animals that we eat. I guess I get that. I just think the biggest problem is not necessarily like I think the biggest problem is not the fact that we kill our animals to eat them or the grazing. It's the fact that it's what's the word? It's monopolized by these major companies. You have one, two, three. I don't honestly know how many companies, but to get my point across, you have like three major companies who own millions of acres, and I don't know if they're really doing the necessary things to make sure that the cows or chickens, goats, lambs are properly grazing and take care of the land. Like there's just a there's an art to it. I just think you have to get away from like big companies and go back to just like your local farmers. If local farmers were farming and supplying their local areas meats, I personally, maybe my bias here, I don't think we'd be seeing these issues that they're trying to say that we're having with environmental issues or these mistreatment of animal issues. The problem is you have major companies who are trying to handle millions of animals. You can't do that ethically. You're trying to handle millions of animals ethically. That's, in my opinion, damn near impossible. Of course, there are going to be issues there. On top of millions of animals on a big swath of land, how are you going to take care of that land when you like it's it's difficult, which is why we're seeing these problems. Get away from these corporations, go back to small businesses, go back to small land farmers. Like, it's so hard to be a local farmer when you're competing with these major businesses. And the reason why I know this because I try and I try to start a farm. I realize how hard it is because the financial investment in it, and it is hard to compete. Like, it's just hard to compete.
I think the other thing that makes it really hard to compete though is for like the people that you want to be your customers to come to like a local farmer. They see the price of your cuts, and then they see the price of this corporation's cuts, and the corporation is way cheaper.
I understand that, but then you got to, then I
Corporation
point
will
to
lose money on purpose just to kill your business.
100%. I agree with that too. But the reason, and I push back on the customers because I think it's annoying when you hear people talk about environmental issues, animals being mistreated. There's a reason why this food costs a little bit more because they try to go that extra mile to make sure you feel morally right about making this purchase. The problem is people don't want to make that more have that moral tax. Basically, there's a moral tax that we don't want to acknowledge.
Yeah,
I
I
agree
do.
with that. I just
I
also
definitely agree with
think
that.
that
Yeah.
do they have to tell you? Do they have to let you know that it's lab grown chicken before you eat it?
I'm pretty sure they do.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure they do.
Because we're not going to know the effects of this for 100 years, 50
I
years.
completely agree, which is why
Yeah.
I'm iffy about
So
this.
yeah, like so. I don't know, dude.
This
But
is the same
slippery slope.
slippery
I
slope.
I just think it's hard though, man, because it's like you have people that need money to do whatever they want. Like, there's definitely fuck off money. You know what I mean?
Eat the
But like
homeless
a
with
lot
it
of
first.
people, like you want to save money, and then you have the cheaper meat, and it's just like fuck. Like it's just right there. Like
Also, why is it cheaper?
No, it's not cheaper. They said it's more expensive actually.
I know this one's way more expensive. No, I'm talking about like the idea of like deciding whether or not you should buy from a corporation or you should buy from a
Local
local
or
farmer.
Oh, okay.
why is the
Yeah,
corporation able to keep it cheaper, the cost cheaper?
They
because they
make
just have the monopoly off of it. Like they're
Why do they have monopolies off of it? I know you don't have the answer to the question. I'm just asking dumb questions. I'm sorry. It's because we're not really fucking capitalists, like I keep fucking saying. These guys lobby, these guys do all these types of things so they can
take
practice making fake
shortcuts.
chicken on their free fucking time. And where the local farmer who has no real representation in law, his politicians don't really serve him. The local government doesn't really serve him. They serve the biggest business in town, the biggest corporation in town. So he can't compete. He literally can't compete. Gene, what you're describing is somebody who cannot compete. It's not a fair market.
100%.
So they can miss me with that fake ass chicken. I like my chickens the fuck. Chicken grown, goddamn lab.
so in the
I'm a
book I
sexy
read
chicken. Like, no, my
the
chicken was turned on at one point.
What the fuck,
wait,
bro?
so in the book I read, the whole world goes to shit because everybody starts eating these like genetically enhanced foods, and the only country that refuses to have those foods is Thailand. They keep doing things the way that they've always been done, and they end up becoming the fucking like superpower of the world, like almost like overnight, because everybody else goes to shit.
Just based off health, they become a superman. Can you imagine?
Yeah,
Just based off health. Oh, we just win because
yeah.
we're healthy.
The
We're not talking
genetic
about an NBA
food
team in
or whatever
the
starts some
finals
kind of
either.
a it starts some kind of a fucking pandemic or something like that. A lot of people start dying off.
It kind of goes
I'm
back
not
to the
eating
earlier
that shit.
conversation we had about everyone thinks they're morally right, and when it comes to conversations, it's hard to engage because you just like, how can I be wrong? I think this kind of test is a testament to this because I think, in my opinion, they're trying to address a moral dilemma, which is we're affecting the environment and we're torturing these animals just to feed ourselves. So their solution to this moral dilemma is let's just artificially grow meat. So therefore we help the environment and we're not, hurting animals.
Folks are
Well,
using the environment as a marketing tool. It has nothing to do with them caring about the environment. It's
What?
cheaper.
No,
It's cheaper.
but it's
It's cheaper. It's cheaper. They're gonna charge us more. It's cheaper. You're not gonna tell me in the long run it's gonna be more expensive to take care of an animal than grow an animal in a lab when you can reuse the same equipment for the growing versus the time scale it would take for a non-lab created creature. They're going to charge us more, but it costs them less. There's less manpower involved. There's more lab equipment involved. What do you have? Do you have to pay a pension for a lab equipment? No, it's not cheaper. They're just gonna say it's cheaper, and I mean, they're just gonna say it's more expensive and charge us more to be less healthy, which is crazy. Vegan shit is expensive. Organic shit is expensive. Why? Because it takes TLC to grow. Why does your lab bullshit need to be expensive?
Do you think it's
What?
gonna be like the way Teslas are right now, where it's like 40 fucking grand to buy a Tesla, or if not more, and then the people that have Teslas can sometimes look down at other people who are driving motor vehicles and be like,
Hundred
"You're a
percent.
fucking asshole. You're
100%.
ruining the government or the environment."
100%. It's a moral thing. Like I like
What do
I
you? What's the nutritional value? Is it the same amount of grams of protein that I would get from the same portion of a chicken?
I don't know. I don't think they explained it in the article.
well, I think it's more so than just nutritional value. I can't explain it because I don't know too much about it, honestly. But for me, it's more. I can't rationally and scientifically and biologically explain why this bothers me. To be honest with you, it comes from like a religious place. I just think when you try to mess with God's, you trying to mess with God and play God, bro. I just think that's dangerous territory. You're trying to artificially grow stuff to feed us. You're playing God at that point. And I think anytime you try to play God, it's like John said, it's a slippery slope, my man. It's a slippery slope.
Give them the benefit of the doubt and say, "Oh, they're trying to tackle an issue. Da, da, da,
By
da, they're
playing
trying to tackle an
God.
issue." They're not tackling any issues, dude. If they were tackling an issue, wouldn't the most appropriate issue for them to tackle would be world hunger with this? Wouldn't the make the most sense? We're growing chicken in a lab. Let's feed people who are hungry. No, it's gonna cost more. They're finding out something that costs more. They're not taking care of the world's problem. If you want to be all gung ho and trying to save the earth, nigga, feed people. You're not feeding people. Have synthetic chicken lines outside the homeless spot. No, it's gonna be in Whole Foods.
They literally just said it. They're giving it to a high end restaurant in California. Like, yeah.
Ah. Yeah, it grosses me out because it's all just the moral
How
value
much
of
is
it.
Yeah,
Scientologists eating that
yeah.
dumbass shit?
John's not wrong. It's crony capitalism at the end of the day. We're not like we. I remember I pushed back with John against that all the time, and it really woke me up to like John might be right here. Was what happened with what was it, GameStop? That was
That was the big one.
wild. That was
That was the big one.
wild.
Where
That was
people
They literally said,
wild.
hold on. Not all of y'all are supposed to have access to this. And froze. And then made you sell it under after it went under. Oh my God, dude. This place, son, sometimes. Dog. Just tell me what it is so I can adjust to what it is. Don't sell me a dream and have me participate or have me in the field with the wrong tools. Fake
I just want
chicken.
to. Yeah, I think it comes to
How
the
do you make
notion
something
of
fake to something fake? Just eat fake chicken.
well,
Which
it's
aren't
always
you ready
been
to
fake.
film like Star
It's how
Wars?
it's evolved. Initially, it was like pure chickens. Then it became like steroid chickens, where you like put crazy hormones in chickens to make them bigger breasts, like all this kind of stuff. And that ended up being an issue. Like that's an issue. Now we're
No,
trying to
bigger breath.
artificially do chickens. Like yeah, I don't know. I just like I said, we're doing too much. We're doing too
Is it
much.
gonna be like Clone Wars, where they just clone one chicken and we're just all eating the same chicken?
That's the thing too.
It's
I'm pretty sure. I think they're
That's the
cloning
test
animals also
subject
for
chicken.
food.
Do
yeah.
they have to find the most physically fit chicken to use his like what is the criteria for the chicken that they're using originally? Pretty sure that's a pretty popular cop.
This
I,
fucking
Oh my
guy.
gosh.
I'm trying to think of like how they can make it mass produced. If they do make it mass produced, then I think we'll definitely see like a shift in like just humans in
It's gonna
general.
grow
It
extra
depends how it's
eyes
home
and
grown. Like if they can
Yeah.
streamline the process of growing it, then like you can eat probably like if it's in a petri dish kind of thing. Like I don't know the process, but to like get my point across, like if it's like a little
Yeah.
petri dish, you put in a petri dish and it slowly grows. You got to move from a petri dish to something else, and you get able to streamline that. Then you could probably have an entire like labs all around the country doing shit like that. And it's like a literal like 5,000 square foot lab doing that instead of like 10,000 acres for like, yeah, you're saving so much money on instead of acres, you just got a 10,000 square foot lab or 5,000
Far
square
away
foot
from
lab.
doing that with humans.
And you could probably do that eventually with humans maybe.
And they
And I just think it's dicey
a zombie
territory, man. It's
virus.
just dicey territory. Just some stuff you should be messing with. I don't like I
Check
go
on
back to my
something.
point.
He coming soon. He coming soon. That man, that person, that deity for the wipe. Like if I was God, I would have been wiped this shit clean. You know when you unplug your PlayStation because you just lost, you don't want it to save? Would have been did that shit on Earth. It's stupid. Eat fake chickens.
Well, they're not technically fake chickens. It's
They're fake.
just
They're
They take the
fake.
cells and like
They're
stuff it
fake.
full of
They're Ain't no sex happen. Ain't no fertilization, natural fertilization happen. It's not real. I don't care. We came here with one thing that we knew. We do this and this. We get this. Now they telling me you ain't gotta do this. You're the devil. You're the devil. That's what the devil would do. The devil would make fake chicken. You disagree?
no, 100% agree. Personally, I personally 100% agree.
The devil would be the girl with purple weave in her hair at the Wendy's drive-through giving you fake chicken. I'm telling you.
It helps the environment.
Hmm.
There's no animals were harmed in the production of this.
What about me? What about when I ingest it and I'm harmed a little bit at a time? What about me?
That's the thing that I'd be most curious about. Like, because if it's definitely sounds too good to be true,
Probably is.
but if they, yeah, exactly, it probably is. But it's just like if you can make it work to where it's like it's not harmful for humans and it can be mass produced, then yeah, it's the holy grail. You know what I mean? Like we saw.
The issue is we'd
No
never know
gas.
until years down the road. That's the
Yeah,
issue with a lot of this stuff. Like we literally would not know until years down the road. No one knew about when for probably a terrible example to use, but no one really knew at the time that birth control would have these side effects that it has. But at the time it was like, oh yay, free sex. Now we're learning down the road that it really affects women. Like it really has this side effects to women. Like it affects your hormones. It affects how you're attracted to. It affects it affects so much. Like you probably shouldn't be on birth control. Like we so badly want to alter how biology naturally is because we want to circumvent like the natural law so badly, and that's just the human experience, I guess. I don't know how to explain it, but it's just part of
Preaching
being
right
human,
now,
I
my
guess.
boy.
What do you say?
You preaching right now. Jesus Christ. Niggas trying to dodge all of anything that has balance, niggas just want the good side of.
That's actually
Crazy.
that's probably a better way to word it. There's a balance to everything. There's good and bad. The problem is we'd rather it be solely good and no bad. It's like there's a point to the bad. It might not be very what's the word? Not political right to say, but it might not be a pill that's easy to digest. But there is bad in the world. It has to be there. Like for example, again, probably a bad example to use, but sex. Sex is great, but guess what? You might have kids, so be responsible. You can't just not have kids from doing sex. If you're trying to stop that, there might be side effects. You got to be like with on topic with chickens. We like to eat chicken. The chicken's got to have sex to be able to have more chickens to eat and have eggs to eat. You
I
can't
want
just
these chickens
artificially.
fucking. Who is against these chickens having sex? They're gonna die. The least we could do is let them get their nut off before they die.
They only live
We
for like
just
I think 3 years, 2 to 3 years max. I'm not sure if that's correct, but they don't live long
we
at
gonna
all.
run out of chickens. We gonna run out of chickens and then we gonna lose the sample. Then we gonna be out of chicken.
I don't think there's any way we can run out of chickens. It's
We gonna
chickens.
run out of chicken. We gonna be done eating all the harvesting chickens. It's probably gonna be like it's gonna be 10 chickens left and they're gonna be at all the zoos. It's gonna be a zoo animal. Why? Because we don't need it no more. We just go make chicken. Watch, you're gonna put in-home incubators where you just grow the chicken. Honey, can you grow some chicken before I get home?
Ugh,
that's what I
that's
was
weird.
thinking earlier. It's like a microwave almost.
It's like
And
Back to
let
the
me tell you
Future
something.
3,
Where they go
where they put in that little thing in the whatever they call it, and then boom,
air
grows a
fryer?
pizza. Yeah, whatever that
Yep,
thing was.
yep.
Yeah, something like
And
that.
I ain't gonna lie
Heck
to you, I'm
no.
talking all this shit. I'm for sure Tommy a synthetic lamb chop. Oh my god! I gotta taste the difference. I gotta taste the difference. I'm gonna know on the spot. I'm gonna know on the land. I'm gonna know on the spot. I'm not gonna fool me. Not land. You
You're like, I can taste the beaker.
can taste it.
The moment I'd be pissed is if Chick-fil-A does this. If Chick-fil-A
I
adopts a
don't think
synthetic
so.
chicken, I'd be
I
pissed.
don't think so,
I'd
dude.
be
Bro,
pissed.
they literally cannot.
I know, and if they do it, that's why I'd be pissed.
I don't
Like
think
you're
they.
supposed to be a Christian, you can't.
Exactly.
Like you
Yeah,
Exactly.
literally cannot.
I'd be pissed.
I highly doubt they would. Wendy's, on the
I
other
don't
hand,
think they would. I think Chick-fil-A is safe. I think we're safe with the Chick-fil-A.
Jack in the Box.
Jack in the Box might drop a chicken taco.
Synthetic chicken tacos.
Yeah.
What is that?
CST, get your
SCT?
CSTs. Oh yeah, SCTs, get your SCTs.
$2 SCTs.
$2 SCTs. Oh. Instead of the 99-cent tacos, it's a $2.99 tacos.
Yeah.
Two
Yo,
X's after that.
last question. Who feels we're approaching the end of times? Like it feels a post-apocalyptic, damn near, or not post-apocalyptic,
Oh,
pre-apocalyptic. It's feeling
100% sure.
pre-apocalyptic.
This is not cocky. This is not self-indulgent or narcissistic. I'm 100% sure I'm going to witness the end of the world. I'm 100% sure that it's going to be us. Like it's going to be out. It's going to be us. Something big, something bad is going to happen. It's going to be us. And I keep telling you, it's going to be a random Wednesday. I'm driving home from work. Mothership in the sky.
Oh my God!
What do we do then? What do we do then? Do I go home?
Because we
Fuck
forget the
no.
simple fact. It's been
You said what?
confirmed. Aliens exist. We forget the simple fact that it's been confirmed. Aliens exist. So that
Based
day's
off what that
coming.
ship look like, I might be in hell because I might kill myself. I'm not gonna deal with that type of stress. Like running from aliens, I'm not even gonna deal. If they come here on bullshit, I'm not dealing with it because that was not part of the agreement. That was not part of the original shit he promised. That was not that. Okay, so if you
Never
bring
said in
aliens,
Genesis the first curse it wasn't fight aliens. It was the bleed, sweat, and tears. But you will eat. That was the
you
promise.
will eat. Now let me tell you something. Checking out. Try again on another planet because that's how that shit works. If we just seeing aliens, you die, you just move to the next planet. That's what I'm convinced. I'm not dealing with that.
God
He's just
forbid.
fucking rebooting.
I'm
Reset the
not
The
trying
game.
reboot. Now
I'm
I'm
not trying.
invaded. Fucking humans.
Now I'm an alien. Coming after y'all.
Would y'all really want to
On the
like?
flip side, if I was an alien invader, I'd be with all the fuck.
Nah.
I'm fucking shit up on another planet. I swear to God.
All right, that's the end of the topic. But last conversation, just because it sounds fun, and John kind of alluded to it, I'm kind of curious. Would y'all actually want to come back? It doesn't have to be specifically here on Earth, but if you were reincarnated, would you
Would
actually
I
want
come
to
back as
be?
a man?
Doesn't
That's my
matter,
only question.
man, woman, animal.
No, it's a man. Because I feel like I got the lucky end of the stick this time. And I don't want to come back if we just playing Russian roulette. So if I come back as a man, I'm all for it. I'm not coming back as a woman.
I've always liked the idea of reincarnation, so I'd be okay with it. For some
That's
Even
reason,
if you
that's
came back as
interesting.
like a tree.
That's
I
interesting.
don't know. I definitely don't want to come back as a lower life form. I just think like I like I just like the idea of like the cycles. I remember the first time I ever had this like thought was when I was watching that movie What Dreams May Come or something like that. It's the one with Robin
Mhm.
Williams where he goes after his wife in hell. And I remember it creeped me out because I was just like, that's it. Like you die, you go up there, you chill at the pond with everyone in heaven, and you just stay there forever, just chilling, having a good time. And I was just like, seems kind of lame. And then they show the scene where the children are reincarnating, and I was just like, I'd probably take reincarnation just to be like, fuck it, like let me do something, like. And then he kind of explains how like the souls get like tired and they just really want to experience life again and they go back into it. I was like, that to
Have
me
you
makes more
ever
sense.
heard the theory that reincarnation, the idea of reincarnation actually came from the destruction of the world. Like everything was destroyed or burned, and as it began to regrow and come back to life, obviously, volcanic ash and all that shit, cavemen. That cavemen actually weren't even like the original old people. It was the reset of mankind, and that was the beginning of a reset, whereas not the beginning of just evolution. So, like the actual idea of reincarnation came from everything burning, a few people surviving, and a bad story of what is it? Train, telephone. There you go. A bad game of telephone that ended up with things being reborn into people being reborn.
Hmm.
I don't want to be reincarnated or reborn. I don't think the
You
afterlife,
survived.
heaven. I don't think heaven is as Doc described it. I know a lot of people think heaven is like you go to heaven and you're just chilling. I generally don't think that's what heaven is.
Work here.
That
There's a
I do. I think so. I think it's going to be work. I think there's a reason why God in the Bible it says just like there's 7 sins, there's 7 virtues. And I think there's a reason why you're supposed to attain the 7 virtues. What you have to attain those 7 virtues for, we don't know until we die. But there's a reason why we're supposed to attain them. Some people say the whole point and the reason why the demons hate us so much is because they're jealous. Like we as humans, when God created us to replace them. What are we exactly? What exactly are we replacing them for? Like I think there's a greater purpose in the afterlife, and if I don't attain that,
what's to
I
stop him
feel
from
like
replacing us?
you said what?
And if he's gone, what's to stop him from replacing our stupid asses? Do you think we're
Hundred
never gonna get
percent,
replaced acting how we acting on this earth?
100%. But that's my point though. Is if I'm getting reincarnated back to the earth and my mind failed somehow, I have to do this again. What did I do wrong? What do
I
I
mean,
want? What do I have
you
to
don't have
learn
the
coming
knowledge.
back here?
You don't have the knowledge that you are reincarnated, do you? In your
I
hypothetical
highly doubt you will, because otherwise there's maybe that explains why there's so many
punishment.
people in power on this world, because like they have some knowledge they kept from coming back. They're like, screw it, I'm not trying to achieve this anymore. I'm just gonna enjoy life here. Maybe they
I kept my
do.
common sense.
You said what?
I kept my common sense from my past life.
Maybe
I like the idea of reincarnation though, because it's like I don't know. I think of it like a roguelite video game where it's just like you're gonna die at the end of it. Like that's kind of the point of it. But like the gameplay is so fun that maybe next time you try a different way, you play it a different way. Like you
I don't know.
just
I disagree. I'd rather
That analogy, the gameplay is
yeah,
so fun.
the level. I don't want to. I don't. I just want to level up. I guess like this is the Earth. This human experience, this earthly physical experience is the first level. The spiritual is the next level. I want to be able to say I've I'm worthy of going to the next level that is a spiritual level, and what that is
Gene
and what
only
that
plays
experience is
Diablo
like.
on hardcore. You don't want to come back. Gene, Gene leave all his games on the continue screen.
because I remember talking to another friend too, where we had this talk and I remember he was like, so then you just keep reincarnating over and over and over and over again, and I was like, yeah, I guess that would make sense. Like that's probably what those people believe.
It makes no point sense to me. But
And that's what
oh,
he said.
sorry.
He was like, "So what's the point?" But like, my rebuttal to that's always been like, "Does there have to be a point?" Like,
Yeah,
no, there really doesn't. Because like at that point, you're assuming whatever your deity's intention is with life.
I mean that's fair because who am I to say there's a point to it? But I could say
Yeah,
the same thing. You're assuming there's no point. Also, like we generally don't know the answer. Like you're assuming
yeah.
there's no point. I'm assuming there's a point. We generally don't know.
So like
I would
one,
say mine's more of an optimistic view, which is weird. Usually I'm the pessimistic one. I think your view is more pessimistic.
well, I think you're optimistic in what your belief is, but I think I'm optimistic in my belief, right? Because I just literally told you I find the gameplay fun. So
Fair,
if I come back, like I'm doing what I want.
but
You
I
know what I
think
mean?
Fully
to have the point of
pessimistic.
view that there's no point to it is very pessimistic and nihilistic. That even though you may have an optimistic view of it, at the end of the day, the root of it is very pessimistic and nihilistic. There's
I
no point.
It was
disagree
realistic.
because you want a construct, you want a reason, a purpose for it to happen.
Fair,
When
but I don't think that's pessimistic or nihilistic. That's optimism. That's hope.
Everything
That's
can't be
hope.
true. Let's be real here. Okay. Everything can be true. Like, I believe in God, right? But the only reason for our existence is just because.
I
Like,
don't
there's
know. I don't
no
know
other
that
reason.
one.
Yeah, there's just he wouldn't need a reason to create us unless there were external circumstances that were above God's control. That is the only solution for him needing to create us. So it had to be a want.
So it's funny because the creation myth that I always thought was interesting because I thought it came out of left field, and I know I told you guys it before, was like the Aztec creation myth, where it's this: you have a universe, and then the universe, realizing it needs a caretaker, creates a god, and that is the it. So it's not God creates the universe; it's the universe was around, it imbued its power and created an entity. That entity then became the caretaker, and by doing that, created like the sub deities, like the apostles or whatever, and from there, like all the other things trickled down. But their viewpoint as for life and death was that it was a small combustion engine. So like every time somebody died, a bloom of energy would come out, and that bloom of energy is what fueled divine power. And so that's how life stayed in perpetual. So at that point, God needed to create humanity to stay fueled.
That's my biggest question. Like, what was the need for humanity? Like, because it's always explained to us like God needs his soldiers. God, why? Like, honestly, why? Is he bored? Because he could just wipe shit out. He could. God could arrive to whatever conclusion he wants everything to be at. So it's a want. It's not a need, unless the theory you just said is true. But it have to be a want, and that question has bothered me for so long because if it's a want, then we are just at the whim of God, and we also have to accept if at the end of all of this we deem the logic behind our existence as unreasonable, we still just have to accept it because we are not the creators. Like we're
Yeah, I
literally
mean,
not the creators.
you have deism, the philosophy that Thomas Jefferson created, where it's just like God created life just to see if he could do it, and then just walked away from it, and then everything's just been
Like that
going
last
on.
part.
Yeah, and then everything's just been going the way it's been going after he just was like, "Oh, cool, I did it."
So that's why abandoned fathers are so deep within us. The urge to abandon our children are so deep in us. No, that was a bad joke. God forgive me. I'm sorry. That was a bad joke.
My
God forgive
God,
me. I'm sorry.
deadbeat God is crazy.
That's a fun. That's a term.
Deadbeat God
That's a
is
term. That's
crazy.
a term. That's
Deadbeat
what.
God is
That was the
crazy.
theory Doc just put it forward.
Yeah, what? But you sure did a good job of simplifying that shit. Deadbeat God is crazy. Oh my God. I
I
will
mean, the
not worship
reason
a
why he
deadbeat
kind of
God in Jesus' name.
well, the reason why he kind of came up with it too, at least what the books say, is just that like when he was trying to create the country, he was just like, "Nah, God ain't probably gonna help out," because he had this deadbeat God mentality, and so he's like, "So we're gonna have to do this shit ourselves."
No, I ain't gonna lie. That's a funny anime. I know, I know. That's a deadbeat God is a funny anime. I don't care. Like he's just God. He just don't want to do shit.
It would definitely be a comedy.
Yeah,
Oh,
for
it
sure,
would
100%
for sure,
have
for
to
have
be
to
a
sure,
be a
for sure.
comedy.
comedy.
It would have to be a comedy.
All right.
That
Let's
reminds me
let's
of a skit real quick. I was watching this skit from this like comedy show where like there's like a deadbeat god, and he just doesn't want to be there. Like Peter's talking to him about like all the paperwork and all the shit he's got to take care of, and God's just like, bro, I don't want to do this, man. Like what the fuck? And then he's like, I just want to go on vacation. You remember all the cool shit I made last time I went on vacation? He's like, I made a giraffe. Like that shit was crazy. Nobody ever saw that thing, and I fucking came up with it.
platypus. That was his
Yeah,
last.
yeah,
That was his last vacation.
yeah,
The
yeah. He's like,
platypus.
I got creative, man.
All right. Random last tangent there. I just when it talks about the mystical gossip, it's always entertaining. Just wanted to dive in that a little bit, explore that before we closed out. Thank y'all for tuning in, listen to our nonsense. If you haven't liked the video, please like it real quick. Show us some appreciation. If you haven't left a comment, leave a comment. Show us some love. Show us some hate. We like all of it. There's a balance. If you haven't shared a video, share the video. Let's get more people in here in part of the discussion. Some more comments feeding into the discussion. It's always appreciated. We will see y'all next time on Fake Deep Thinking. Peace
Take
out.
that shit to threads.
Take that shit to threads.
Yo, thanks for
don't
making
know,
it to the
man.
end. We really appreciate it and hope you all enjoyed the show.
Make sure you hit that subscribe button, that like button, and the notification bell to get notified when we post our clips.
Follow us on Twitter at PodcastFDT. Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok are all fake deep thinking. Check us out, please.
FDT. Peace, y'all.
Peace.